Hi, and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast. My name is Isabel Ross, and I'm the coach at Peak Endurance Coaching. Episode 57 is an interview with Burrell, one of the team who organises the Fastest Known Times website. I've taken his bio from this website, and it goes, Buzz has helped popularise the term fastest known time, starting when he set the FKT on the John Muir Trail in the year 2000, a year after his FKT on the Colorado Trail. He manages Ultimate Direction, a manufacturer of adventure and running packs, and was previously employed by La Sportiva. Buzz's proudest accomplishment is not having died yet. A fine accomplishment indeed. Do you have injuries or niggles ruining your enjoyment of running and hindering your performance? When you only have an hour to run, you want to make sure that it's enjoyable and that you are getting the most out of your training time. Come in and see the specialists at Health and High Performance, where they utilise the latest in technology and experience to help you achieve the results you want and are capable of. So head to healthhp.com.au/run or go to Instagram and find them at Health High Performance. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. Rating, reviewing and sharing helps more people find the podcast and grows the audience, which all helps when I'm contacting people to be interviewed. Don't forget also to subscribe to the YouTube channel. With so many restrictions in place, it's more important than ever to have a structured plan to ensure you maximise your training. Races will eventually return, but in the meantime, there are many other challenges you can find, like planning an FKT. If you need an individualised plan, email me, isabel@peakendurancecoaching.com.au to chat about a training plan. Have a great week of training, stay safe and well, and remember, with a little kindness, grace and empathy, we will all get through this together and come out stronger and more resilient. Enjoy the interview with Buzz. Hi Buzz, and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast.
Good to talk with you, Isabel.
So can you tell us a bit about yourself and your running background and how you got into recording FKTs?
There's some lengthy answers to those questions, but I live in Boulder, Colorado. I've had many jobs. The last job, which I recently retired from, was managing the brand Ultimate Direction. Of course, they're a well-known manufacturer of gear. We invented hydration vests, and et cetera, et cetera. I've been to Australia to visit our distributors there and down under. We had distributors in 21 foreign countries. And in terms of FKTs, I've been basically doing this for 40 years before it was called that, before a term had really been invented. I've raced mountain, trail, ultra, road, and track for that matter, in various sports for decades. But all along, I really liked what we call projects, which is inventing your own route. So instead of someone saying, okay, show up at this date, at this time, at this place, and do exactly this. I mean, it's literally do exactly this. And every 5 or 10 kilometers, someone's going to hand you water and food, and you'll be on your way. And if you ever have any trouble, we'll pick you up and pull you off the course. We'll take good care of you. And, after a while, you don't, kind of is limiting, right? Yeah. It's like, why do this? If you have a little bit of experience, if you got other things on the ball, you create your own project, your own route, your own run. And that's what I've been doing a long time. And gradually this became to be known as the fastest known time because we don't really know. When we started doing this, it was pre-internet. So it was actually hard to determine. Someone could have gone before you faster. And so I think it's not good to call it, we sometimes say the record, but it's not official. It can't be official unless there's an official timer. We're not going to call it official. So FKT became part of the lingo all over the world. And we started this particular website, fastestknowntime.com, a little over 2 years ago. Before that, my friend Peter Backwin had managed to keep track of fastest known times on a template for about 8 years prior to that. So for about 10 years, we've been semi-official, keeping track of fastest known times throughout the world.
Excellent. Yeah. I didn't realize the website was only from 2 years. I thought it was, longer for that. And how do people, if they want to do a fastest known time, is there specific courses, or can you make your own at any time? How do you determine a course?
Right. That's a good question. I could, of course, refer everyone to the website where that's described a little more detail under guidelines, but I'll certainly lay it out here, which is the course either can already exist. We call them routes.
Yep.
And you could go there and find the routes. Oh, I should look this up. I could do this right while we're on the Zoom podcast and look at the classic routes in Oz.
Yep.
I should have done that.
I have been looking at a few of them. Yep.
Okay, good. Well, you can spring those on me.
Yeah.
But it's really easy to look up the routes in every country and every state, every part of the world. And you can either do one of those. For example, there's like, what is it called? Bay to out, I forgot what it is. It's some iconic route in Sydney Harbor, going from the bridge to a lighthouse. There's things like that. There's stuff down in Tassie. It's all over Australia.
Well, the one in Victoria I was looking at, there's a few in Victoria. There's the Goldfields track one, and there's one that somebody just created this year even. So, they're still getting created.
Oh, they're definitely still getting created. But half the routes on our website were created in the last 6 months. So they're definitely getting created. And then you can either do that, or if you want to do something yourself that has personal meaning to you, something that you know about that you think is really good, you can create a route. So we allow for that. So there's a two-part process. One, submit a route. Two, submit an FKT. Or you can skip the first part if you're doing it on an existing route. A couple things. All routes are not FKT routes. So you can't run around your block and submit it as an FKT route. You're going to go, sorry about that. And this is very subjective, Isabel, but it's just like art. You want something that other people are going to want to see, that other people care about, are attracted to, are going to want to do. And it's not entirely, it could be very personal, but not entirely just for you. And then, of course, in terms of an FKT, well, you got to go faster than the next person.
Yeah. And so there's no particular length. Do you have a minimum length for what an FKT should be?
Yeah, good question. We didn't used to, but then we started getting in some ones where someone is just fishing to do something. You put their mark on the wall. We had something come in that took 6 minutes, 11 seconds. And we said,
that's what Strava's for. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a strong segment between two mailboxes. Yeah. And so we said it should be at least 5 miles or 500 feet of elevation gain.
Yeah. That's fair enough. And so there's also different types of FKTs. You've got supported, unsupported, a variety. Can you explain the different ones so that people sort of have a greater understanding?
Right. So there's sort of two classification aspects. One is, as you mentioned, styles. Yep. And there is supported, self-supported, and unsupported. This actually came out of the through hiker tradition for people who through hike the long trails. And it really makes a big difference if you're going self-supported, which means nobody is there giving you any aid. But for the multi-day trips, you could hitchhike or go into town and buy food, resupply yourself. You can even stay at a motel, but it's all you. That is self-supported. That's the classic through hiker style, if you will. Then there is unsupported, where you're not even doing that, where you are starting the track and you take everything that you need to finish the track except water. Yeah. So you can get water on the way, but you're bringing all your food with you from start to finish, and nobody's there giving you anything else. Again, natural sources of water.
I was going to ask that. Yeah. Only natural sources. Fair enough. Yep.
Right. That can get a little gray, Isabel. And so, for example, if you're going through a campground and there's a water tap, we're going to call that natural because it's available to everybody, right? Obviously a stream is, but if it's a little water tap in a campground, that's everybody. And then the third one, of course, is supported. support is like a race. And so support can range from just race level support where you got a pacer, where someone's running with you, someone's muling you, someone's carrying all your gear for you. They're trading off, the full on deal, to just one, your spouse handing you a bottle of water at the halfway point.
Yeah.
Those are supported. So that's supported, self-supported, and unsupported, explained on the website.
Yep.
But then there's also the gender categories, which is, of course, female, male. We also have team. We have mixed team. We also have, as of, I think, January, non-binary. We thought, someone suggested that. We said, if you just don't identify or don't want to identify with male or female for any reason at all, you can just self-identify as non-binary, and we say, okay, fine.
Yep. That's fair enough. And then you're just competing against everyone, really, at the end of the day, or not competing, but so with the FKTs and I get all of that. So how did you? So did you do some FKTs first to get started on all of that, or can you tell us a little bit about some of the ones you did?
Yeah, that's hazy. I mean, it just kind of self-generated. And someone asked me this the other day, and I actually don't remember. I mean, we don't promote anything. We don't advertise. We don't say, hey, everyone should do this. We do nothing. I end up talking to lovely people such as yourself, and people are going to hear your podcast. They're going to go to fastestknowntime.com. So that's how the whole thing got going. Yeah, I certainly did plenty myself.
Yeah.
Peter did. I've never entered one that I've done, actually. So that sounds sort of odd. But my background is kind of long. And so if I got into it and started going back there and entering routes and FKTs, my list might get a little long. And I feel a little squeamish about having my name come up.
Really?
I don't really do that.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly now I'm not fast enough to do it. So mine would all be historical.
Yeah. Now you're saying that half of the courses on the website have come up in the last 6 months. Would you say that's the coronavirus effect?
Oh, it's blown up.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'd say we tracked the data, and we're 3.5 times over the submissions from this point last year.
Wow.
So that particular metric I mentioned, I'd say 50% of the routes on the website probably came up maybe in certainly the last 6 months. Yeah. Maybe even less time than that, because we're just crushed, Isabel. We're buried. The inbox when I get up in the morning has certainly 40 messages in it of route and FKT submissions.
Okay.
And so we're getting certainly 20 FKT submissions, 20 or 30 a day.
Wow, that's a lot. And so you have to go through all of those and determine whether they're an FKT and lay them on the website?
Yep. Although Peter Backwin, what a workhorse. Peter is a PhD in physics. He's retired, so he's doing almost all the data entry. One person. It's incredible work. Yeah. So I'm going to mention this right now on the website. It gives people a chance to donate because we have no fees. It's a free service. We don't charge for the service. And so we really, really appreciate and feel donations are appropriate because we're just providing the service at no charge.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. And and what countries are you seeing are tending to embrace the concept of FKTs the most?
Well, it started growing in North America, and then certainly Europe, and then Oz has been pretty good, although I thought there could have been more from there. I'm a little surprised because you're such a sporting nation.
Sure. I was surprised that there were so few comparatively as well.
Right, me too, because you guys are crazy sports people. Yeah. I mean, you name the sport, you're really keen on it. Yeah. But also, there isn't that many of you.
That's the thing.
It's like the same as Texas. I think this population of Oz is the same as Texas. I think. Wow. So, fair enough. And of course, across the street there, the Kiwis.
Yeah.
They're they're pretty strong. But this spring, the big bump unquestionably has come from Western Europe. The
Okay.
Germans and Swedes in particular just went nuts. Still not sure why this is. Part of it has to do with the lockdown,
Yeah.
which is highly variable per country, right?
Yeah.
For example, Jacinda Ardern, the Kiwi Prime Minister, of course, man, she said, "Hey, we're an island. We can just stop this," right?
Yeah.
And so New Zealand did something else entirely, and really clamped down. France, Italy, Spain, and Andorra really clamped down. They were issuing €1,000 fines if you were caught more than 2 kilometers from your house.
Oh my God.
It was nuts. I mean, of course, in the United States, there'd be armed rebellion. So that couldn't happen here.
No.
So it's very much varied by country. Sweden, on the other hand, decided just to roll. Sweden didn't do any lockdown. And they said, okay, the pandemic's here. The virus is here. It's not going away. There is no cure. There is no vaccine. So what are we doing? All we're really doing is hiding. And so might as well just kind of take the hit. And so they had initially higher cases, but it's certainly since leveled off. Yeah. And so it's just kind of, where do you want to hit the curve?
Yes, that's
at any rate, that's where it is. So Sweden has had a lot of FKT submissions. Germany just a ton. Now the UK, and unfortunately, since Google Translate works really well, it just comes in all these different languages, and you just go Google Translate. Of course,
Translate. That's right, because they'll be writing to you in their language, won't they?
Oh yeah, Indonesia, Thailand. Not many from China, but China it's its own world. They're behind this firewall, and so you can't speak to China. Actually, I'm surprised that Japan has not done more. But Japan just moves as a clump. Japan basically doesn't participate in anything until they all do. They're extremely social.
Yes, that's very true.
Socially cohesive country. Yeah. So if they all do it, then everybody does it. Well, the Aussies and the Yanks, we're pretty individualistic. Yeah. We're like, screw everybody else. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And so what if an athlete's thinking, well, there's no races, I'm going to, go out and do an FKT. What sort of things should they keep in mind when doing an FKT?
I think and by the way, what you said, Isabel, is totally true. Going back to what you asked a minute ago, no races, what are you going to do? Yeah. So you're fit, or at least you were. You're motivated, or at least you were. Yeah. And you would like a goal or two. And so an FKT is an excellent alternative. Say, I'm going to put my mark on the wall. So what should they do? I think it should not be just about the time. While the lack of official races, we can't gather in big groups, is definitely a good reason to do this, a big motivator, a big upsurge in FKT action. I don't think that's why you should do it. I think you should do it because you like it. You like the route. You enjoy it. You appreciate it. Okay? It's not about the number. If you're a track runner, it's about the number.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you're Mountain Ultra Trail, you're going to bring a camera just as much as you're going to bring a stopwatch. Yeah. And I think that's the basis of FKTs. Find something that moves you, that turns you on, that you want to learn about. But you usually can't nab the FKT just by running fast, like you can in a race. Okay. The race, you're just going to show up. They're going to say, go that way. And you'll follow these little lines, follow the markers, and you'll be fine. No one's going to do that in FKT. You got to figure it out yourself. That's good. Yeah. That's what you want. You want to learn about the place that you're going to. You want to be part of nature. You want to learn the geography, the topography, the weather. You want to start at the optimum time of the year, at the optimum place, at the optimum time of day, with the optimum amount of gear and water. That's good. It's not a problem. That's what you want. In my opinion, we need to integrate more and learn more about our amazing natural surroundings.
Yeah, so kind of more of an adventure rather than looking at it as a race.
That's my opinion. And then, if there's something that's really straightforward, you're going to race it and you want to go hard, but you need to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how, when you say that people are sending you all of those FKTs in, I mean, like, I didn't see that many for Victoria, for instance. So do you actually reject quite a few?
Not that many, some, but not that many. Yeah, Victoria, what's up with you folks? Isabel,
I know, right?
you need to go throw down here. You need to come up with something.
I know. Well, look, I had a friend contact me a little while ago, and she wants to do one in Queensland together, as two females. But of course, all our borders are shut. I can't get up to Queensland, so.
Oh, the borders really are shut.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we can't. Like in Victoria, we can't go. We can't go between states at all. You get fined. Yeah, you get fined if you go between states.
That's serious.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And certainly in Melbourne, we're in complete lockdown. We're not allowed out of Melbourne. We're not allowed to go to a friend's house. We're not allowed to do anything. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So such is life, or we get fined.
Wow.
So, yeah. And that's why
that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay.
And I find it interesting that you say the Americans wouldn't put up with that. Yeah, I find that interesting because I've told some of my Canadian friends that we're in a lockdown. This is our second lockdown. We went back into lockdown, and they say, "Oh, the Canadians wouldn't put up with that either." But I don't know.
Well, this is a different topic, but it's an irritating topic. And we should just touch on very briefly.
Well, it's related to it all, so yeah.
It is related. I mean, I certainly wear a face mask when I am out.
Yeah.
If I can't maintain 6 foot distance, and if I'm in any indoor public area, I mean, wear a face mask. Get over it. Come on, step it up. To argue that one, I think is just sociopathic.
Yeah.
I find that quite irritating. At the same time, outdoors, the science in that is, if you're outside, the chances of contacting this virus are much lower. And so what happens is grocery stores are open, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the trails should be open or more so because it's infinite dispersal.
Yes.
I mean, if you're on the beach, what's going to happen here? Not much is going to happen. So my personal thinking is, just like they've been doing in Asia for decades, take care of everybody. Yeah. Even if you don't believe in wearing face masks, you should believe in being polite to the people who do believe in it. Yeah. And in America, we have some people believe in their personal freedoms and their rights. It's like, oh, get over it. I got very little patience for that. And so I feel that being polite to everyone, working together as a country and a nation and a society, wearing face masks, particularly indoors, is all very good. And outdoors, I think, is relatively safe.
Yeah.
As long as you're not in a big group. I mean, the New York City Marathon got canceled for a reason, right? Yeah. It's not going to happen. It can't happen. And bringing us back to topic, those type of races aren't going to happen for a long time.
No,
right?
Exactly.
I mean, Beta, what's it called? Something Bondi, Beach to Bondi, Beta
yeah, that's
Bondi.
Right. City, not City, is it City to Surf? Something like that.
But City to Surf. What's like 30,000 people?
Yeah.
Don't think that's not that's not going to happen for a while. And so look on fastestknowntime.com, see what you want to do, make your mark.
Yeah. And that's it. And you'll be out in the forest and certainly well away from anybody else, especially if you're doing it unsupported. So
right.
Yeah. And so is there anything else that you think we should know about FKTs? Or, because there's not a lot. I don't know a lot about the FKT, so maybe you can tell us something more I may have missed.
Well, I think it's fascinating. So if you go to the website, there's different sections right there. There's latest FKTs where you just look around the world, just click on stuff, because unlike races, there's always a description. There's always a report of what someone did, and there's often photos. And so you have lovely reports of what people did, how they felt about it, interesting things, photos, and so forth. And it can become quite fascinating about the variety. And boy, I guess that's a good question. I guess I should have studied up so I could have answered this better in terms of examples. So the only thing that comes to my mind is someone did something in Crater Bed National Monument in California, where he went through 7 different lava tube caves.
Oh, wow.
And these are all legally open trails, linking these 7 lava tube caves. So he was underground for a total of 1 mile over the length of the route, linking these caves. I said, wow, you're not going to hold a race on that, right?
No, yeah,
but
no.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So at least I'm not sure about Oz, but in the States, there is no such thing as a race in a national park. Forget it.
Yeah,
Can't do it.
No.
And of course, so you're talking about Yosemite Valley, Rocky Mountain National Park, right? You're talking about some of those famous landscapes in this country, and the National Park Service will never permit a race of 10 people in these places, but you can do FKTs in these people. And so in our country, we have FKTs in Yosemite Valley, going up summits, through the canyons, out in Zion National Park, where you're going through canyons. You have some interesting stuff. And then it goes to the eastern seaboard, where you have just trails through the woods. And then it goes to Germany and Australia. Like, I was processing roots, Isabel, and something come in, and it was like, Dervinal Sitchel Hagen das Dervitskivich. And I went, what is this? This is bogus. And so you click on it, and it turns out this is a named route. It has a start and a stop. It's got the signposts. Here's the color of the trail markings. So the Germans are super organized.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, wow, we're just putzing around compared with them. Things that just look totally improbable are these trails that they've marked out in exact detail. And then, of course, the ones coming from Italy tend to go to the top of mountains. They just like that. You'll start in some gorgeous ski area, this little mountain town, and go crank up the top of some beautiful glaciated summit and crank back down. And then in the UK, Isabel, they're called ways.
Yes,
you call trails tracks, obviously. It's in New Zealand and Australia, you don't do trails, you do tracks. When the UK, the old ones are called ways. And it's like, what is a way? And so you look on it, and people have been doing it. It's a way route for 300 years. And it goes to be, the directions are start at the pub. And then it might go through a few different towns, and then it'll end at another pub, 100 kilometers later. It's like, wow, these are good. So I'm sorry, it's just a variety is what interests me. There's stuff where it's beach, where you just literally run along a beach.
Oh, I couldn't think of anything worse.
Right. So each to its own. So that's the beauty of it, right? The beauty of it is the variety. And that's what I want to leave your listeners with. It's find your own meaning. Find what's meaningful to you, what turns you on and inspires you.
And I like it that you call it a project. So it's like with a race, you don't have to think about the course. Like you said, you just go out and it's marked and whatever. But with this, you really have to plan things and think about things. And I think often with many activities, the preparation is part of the fun.
Well, right. So if people don't like preparation, you probably won't like this. No. But like you just said, I think it's part of it. And it's not just the gear. It's, as I mentioned earlier, it's learning about your natural surroundings. What's the weather like? You probably ought to look that up before you go. Right? You don't want to go during a bushfire. You don't want to go during a drought. You want to go during a monsoon. So figure it out. Learn the area. Learn the best time to do it. And then lastly, charge your watch battery.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, we get that one a lot. Someone says, an hour from the end, my watch died. It's like, well, sorry about that.
So you have to have a full GPX of the course for it to count.
We didn't used to. Yeah. So this is rapidly evolved. And we started doing this GPX was rare.
Yeah.
It was quite uncommon. And then, of course, Strava came along. By the way, I have my last podcast interview was with a person who works at Strava.
Oh, okay.
And she was the very first run employee at Strava. And so she gave us the inside scoop. And so if anyone wants to listen to that, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, and Strava changed the game.
Yeah.
Now everybody's doing that. Unless you're wearing your Garmin watch, it's like, you're a Neanderthal. So yeah, so now verification and documentation is simple, and it's to be expected to be done.
Yep. How did you used to verify them without Garmin's?
That's a good question. And interestingly enough, it used to be kind of gentleman's agreement.
Yeah.
There's so few people doing it that you knew people, and to have the respect of your peers was paramount.
Yeah.
To cheat would just be ridiculous, because you would be shamed by your peers. That would be just the worst thing that could happen. And so you would announce in advance, and you would document it with a written trip report, possibly photos, and you would write it down. Because sometimes people would send us something, said, I did this 2 years ago. And it's like, well, wow, that's kind of tough one, because memory's not that good after 2 years. But we actually would get into it on that level. And nowadays, we don't get into it on that level at all. There's just no reason to do that. And then, of course, as you know, professional runners are doing it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, just the top runners in your country, in our country, in every continent, the best mountain ultra runner in the world of his generation, Kilian Jornet, a number of years ago said he just wants to do FKTs. He doesn't want to race. Racing to him is like, it's boring.
He's done it all, won it all, hasn't he?
Right. And with his skill level, why do that? Because he can navigate, right? He understands weather, topography, technical terrain. So he wants to create his own route, his own project. And so he just wanted to do FKTs. And in various countries of the world, I think your top runners said, gee, why not just create something and use my skill set?
Yeah. Well, and that's it. Everyone has a different skill set, and find a course that suits yours and create an FKT.
Yep, I think so.
Sounds like fun, and gives us something during this time that we can, use our fitness for, and have a reason to stay fit as well, so that we can do these sorts of things.
Right. You're going to go bonkers otherwise. And there's someone who supposedly ran a marathon in a parking garage in France.
I couldn't think of anything worse.
That wouldn't be me.
No. There's been a lot of that, and I understand people want to do something different, but that wouldn't be me either. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And so just tell everyone the website again, and how they can get in contact.
fastestknowntime.com. It's all there.
It is. It's a great website, and I love it how you can look at the world map and see where all the FKTs are, and just click on what you want to have a look at. It's really interesting.
Definitely. You can also just, under routes, you could just click on the top menu bar, routes, and under route name, leave it blank, instead type in Australia. Click apply, and then everything in just Australia will come up. So leave the route name blank, type in the name of the country, click apply, and there you get just everything in that country.
That's right. And then from there you can also go state by state. So which is brilliant. So it's very interesting, and we really appreciate you having that website. And like you said, please donate to keep it going.
Thank you, Isabel. Appreciate that.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time, and I hope you'll soon be getting lots of Australian FKT submissions.
Well, it's a great country. What a great sporting country. And I've done a race in Australia. Never did the 6-foot track, which I kind of wanted to do. But the running down there, I've hiked the South Coast track down in Tassie, and the Freixenet Peninsula down there, and tons of Royal National Park up south of Sydney, et cetera, and Blue Hills. So Aussie's great. Actually, I've been to Uluru. I climbed through the
nice.
rock before they closed it. So you got stuff there for sure.
Yeah, we do, and I think Australians need to get on it more. So hopefully this will give them a bit of a prod in the right direction.
All right. Good talking with you, Isabel.
All right. Thanks very much.